Welcome everyone to the latest Coffee Break webinar by RIB CostX. My name is Francesca Nottingham and I am a CostX consultant in RIB software. As you can see on screen, this month's topic is 2D auto revisioning. So we'll have a look at the process of how to manage revisions in the software. For those of you who don't know what CostX is, or for those who have never used it, CostX is a fully integrated measuring and estimating solution with universal applications, supporting everything from hand-drawn sketches to PDFs, DWGs, all the way through to 3D models, BIM files, and everything in between. As we can see from this matrix, RIB CostX is available in a variety of licenses, ranging from offering all functionality to a fairly limited option depending on your estimating requirements. Delving deeper into each functionality, let's look at the components, breaking down how each of them are cohesive with one another, bringing you an all-in-one service. You have your takeoff options to start with. Whether you're using 3D BIM or 2D drawings, CostX provides accurate data enabling you to utilise this data within your workbook. So our workbooks are just like Excel spreadsheets, but they are our own version. They still have the ability to use formulas and functions, making them very easy to use and navigate. We then have revisions tracking. Now this offers an accurate method of comparing a previous revision with a new one, giving you multiple ways to highlight, identify and quantify any changes, meaning you're always up to date with the latest cost implications. Once you've completed your estimate, you then have the opportunity to produce a report. Now we offer various standard report templates for you to use. Alternatively, you can customise your own report, producing a professional quality output. Don't forget to check out the RIB CostX YouTube channel where we upload our coffee break webinars, and you can also subscribe so you can get notified of the latest videos and kept up to date with the newest features and how-to tips and tricks. So this month's webinar, as previously mentioned, we will be reviewing 2D auto revisioning. Firstly, let's discuss what auto revisioning is. So during a project, you will know that the preliminary design is rarely the one carried forward to the as-built drawings. As a result, there will be instances where the design gets updated and costs need to reflect any changes, as well as variations remeasured. So, as the name auto revisioning suggests, CostX can automatically identify changes for you and assist you in your remeasure. When can we use auto revisioning? So this can be used in the dimension view and in the workbook view. In the dimension view, it can be used with 2D formats. Something to note here is that it doesn't matter if your initial revision was in a PDF and maybe your second revision is in a DWG format, for example. It will still work with identifying changes. You can also use it with 3D measurement. Now this is the quickest way to complete revisions, as it runs an analysis of everything that was measured previously and then does a remeasure with very little user input. Today we'll be focusing on 2D auto revisioning. In the workbook view, it takes any live linked quantities and automatically updates them to the revised quantities, so you don't have to manually enter the new figure. Topics that we will explore in this webinar include process of managing revisions in a 2D format. So as previously mentioned, using a 3D model is very quick to update revised dimensions. With 2D, there is still a bit of a process, but it's a lot quicker than traditional methods. Extra features available, so as we go along, I'll point out some other functionalities that can be used to make the process streamlined. We'll look at both the drawing revision and the updated cost plan in the workbook view, and you'll be able to see the beauty of having live linked quantities. Let's take a look at using 2D auto revisioning. So what we're going to do is simulate that the architect has sent us a new revision of a drawing that we'd previously measured. So in this building here, I've got my drawing, which is just a floor plan. So it's just a DWG of a floor plan of a house. This is my revision 1, so this was the first drawing I received. I have already done my measure, so I'm just going to expand these so you can see that all my quantities are in here, and I've done the work, I've done the takeoff. Now, if I go to my workbook view, I've got a couple of workbooks here which already have the details from my dimension groups into the figures. So if I go into the quantity of one of these, for example, you can see I've got my live links here, which are in this case linked to the FECA and UCA. So anything that's updated over here will automatically be updated here, and same goes for this workbook as well. So I can go down into the sub-levels and we can see that my quantities once again are built up of live links to my dimension groups. So we'll see the benefit of that a bit later on in the demonstration. So Now I need to tell CostX that I've got a new revision. So all I need to do is go to my revisions tab at the top here. I'm going to select add to tell CostX there is a new revision. So I'm just going to call this Rev 2. And then I'm going to press insert. So what that's done is, hopefully you can see there's like a tiny little padlock here on my drawings. You can also see this has arrived on my workbooks as well. And that is because that's CostX locking all the information on this drawing in place. So when we go to compare the new revision, it knows what to compare it to. Once you've done this, you cannot do anything on, in this case, revision 1. So I can't go back in here and start revising these quantities. CostX needs a position to compare against. So if you can go back and change things, then it would confuse matters. So what we need to do is to promote this drawing. So we've told CostX there's a new revision. It wants to know what the new drawing is. So I just click on here, so promote drawing. It's now going to ask me to choose a new drawing file. So it's going to take me to my file explorer. I just have to locate the new drawing. So I'm going to choose house layout 2. Press open. Okay, so like adding any other normal drawing, you can change the name. So I'm going to call this Rev 2. This won't affect what it's called in my file explorer. It's literally just for the purposes of this. And I'm going to leave everything else the same. So I'm going to press update. Okay, so now instead of my padlock, I've now got a little warning sign. And you'll see that's on all of my dimension groups, and also my quantities have disappeared. So that's CostX identifying that there's been some changes and we need to go through and have a look at what those are. So this is all part of the auto revisioning process. So it's automatically realised that there's changes, and now we need to do the process. The first thing to do would be to use your compare drawings tool. So if I click on this, then we can see we've got a few options. So I can compare it with a previous revision. In this case, we only have one revision to compare it against. But if you were quite a way through your project, you'd have a whole list here. So it doesn't have to be consecutive revisions. You can compare revision 10 with revision 2, for example. Comparison method. So we have a couple of options here. We've got match objects, which is more sort of geared towards BIM models or 3D drawings. It's going to have a look at the actual objects and have a look at the differences there. Matching lines is catered more towards this sort of drawing, so a CAD drawing, and maybe a smart PDF. And then overlay is the most simple. So if you've got a format that's not as intelligent, then you can use this overlay method. So we're going to choose match lines for this one because we've got a CAD drawing, so I'll press OK. And now we can see what was once here, so revision 1, and what is new. So red hatch is the original and anything in green is new. You can change these colours in your options in file down here, but mine are, yeah, red crosshatch is the original and green is new. If you are struggling to identify what is what, you can actually use your layers. So I can see what is new. I can see what has remained the same and what has been deleted. So obviously the original floor plan has been deleted. So you've got all those options there to have a look. But for now, we can just see a quick sort of overview as to what's changed. So I can already see here there's a little extension there, and there's a little extension there, and there's a couple of green bits in here which also need our attention. So once we know that, we can close this, and we're going to go through our dimension groups to identify where the changes are. Okay, so if I click on FECA, so fully enclosed area, we can see anything in green has remained the same and anything in yellow is different. So we can see here, if I hover over this, it's gone blue, but there's a line here that's yellow and a line here that's yellow. So all I need to do is simply hover in the blue section and my cursor's changed. If I move my cursor out, you can see it's changed back. But what we want is this one, which enables us to pick up the yellow line and just simply pull it to where it needs to be. So I'll do the same down here. Okay, so we've got everything captured now. So I'm going to go to my revisions tab and just say accept all. So now we've got an updated quantity and my little warning sign has disappeared. So I'm going to continue down the list. So let's go to UCA And so these are our outdoor areas. Patio is green, so that has remained the same. But we can see here there's a difference, and that is no longer an outdoor area. So all I need to do is just right click and delete invalid dimensions. Am I sure? Yes. Then press accept all again, and now that has satisfied that. So I've got my new quantity, which is just capturing that patio area there. So if you are in a situation where you've got quite a lot of dimension groups, I appreciate there isn't that many on here, but you might have a project which does, there is a quicker method to use. So you can actually select the folder. So rather than the sort of individual dimension groups, you can actually just select the folder. And what you can do is press accept all. So as I selected that, everything within that folder is now highlighted. So anything that CostX has recognised as green, so same as before, when I press accept all, it's just going to satisfy all those. So eventually what I'll get is just the spat out versions that do need updating. So some of these warning signs has disappeared, and that is because CostX is happy that there have been no changes. But we know that the footprint has changed, so all we need to do is just go to this dimension group and do the same again. So I'm just going to hover inside so it goes blue, pick up this yellow line and pull it down to where it needs to be. Press accept, and now I've got my new quantity. Roof will be the same, so pick that up, pull it down. Okay, windows. So there's one hovering here, so obviously this used to, the wall used to be here, so all we need to do is just pick this up and pull it down to where it needs to be. Okay, and then press accept all. Right, so the next one is external doors. So let's have a look. We've got a green one here, which is the new one, and we've got a yellow one here, which used to be where the old wall is. We don't need this, so I'm just going to right click and delete invalid. Okay, that's satisfied that, and then we've got internal walls. Now another handy trick is if you are struggling to see, sometimes the lines make it a little bit difficult with the colours to see what you're actually looking at. You can use your spacebar. So if I click on my spacebar now, you can see that my cursor is now pointing to 3 internal walls, which I can see are just sort of floating. That's the old design. I no longer need any of those. So in that case, I can just select delete all invalid up here. It's just going to ask me if I'm sure that I want to delete those 3 selected. I am, and now that's satisfied that. So internal doors is the last one in this folder, so we'll select here. So we've got, yet again, I can use my space bar and I can see it's those 2 items there. I've just got a random door here that I no longer need, so I'm just going to right click, delete invalid and press yes. And then we have an interesting scenario here. So this is yellow, so it's an old door. CostX has recognised that there was once there, but there is now a change and there isn't actually a new one there. So the architect has obviously forgotten to put a door into this ensuite, which will need correcting. So I'm going to right click over this. So this is one of the features that we have that I mentioned in the PowerPoint that's sort of extra over to the process. This just allows you to annotate your drawing and actually create a new dimension as well. So I'm going to talk you through that. So I'm going to delete the invalid one, press yes, and we will see over here that I've got 10 number of doors. Now I need 11 number of doors. I want my costs to reflect 11 number of doors. So all I need to do is go to my dimensions tab, make sure my line tool is selected. And then I'm just going to click here to insert a door. Okay, so I know it doesn't look like these doors, but it's registered as a count. So I know I've got 11 doors and my costs are going to reflect that. However, the guys on site are going to look at this and say, what is that? We need a bit more detail. We need to understand what that is. As you're not a designer, you need to annotate this and let the architect know that they need to adjust their drawing. So what we can do is create a markup. So over here, we have a markups tool. And you just want to make sure it's grey so it's activated. And then when you create one, it will show up. So if I right click on here, I can select create markup. And all I need to do is just say door required here. You can change the font, you can change the font size, press insert. And as you can see, I've now got a little caption, which is pointing to this door. Okay, so once you've done that, you can go to your drawings tab and you can select reports, print drawing window to report. Okay, so you've got a nice little visual there of the drawing. You've got the details, the file name, you've got the drawing name, and what you can do is you can save this, you can export it to a PDF, or you can send it via email. Send it to your architect and just say, look, my costs are correct because I've counted a door, but you actually need to update your drawing so this customer can actually get into their ensuite from their bedroom. Okay, so close this. So now that we've got all of these dimension groups in this folder satisfied, we just need to do the same thing on the final folder here. So I'm just going to go back to my revisions tab, select accept all, and there's still 3 there that need sorting out. So I'm going to go to my bedroom, and as we know, this room has adjusted. So let's pick this up, just move it to where it needs to be. Go to the garage store. So this obviously used to be an outdoor area, and now this area is an extension. But what we can do here is I'm just going to delete this shape just there. And I'm going to right click on the original shape and select incomplete area. Now what I can do is just click around the new space, hit enter to close that, and now that's captured the extension there. So that has satisfied my little warning sign, and I've got my new quantity. So patio, we know that's remained the same, but there's obviously this funny area here which is no longer needed. So I'm just going to delete invalid. Am I sure? Yes, I am. So that has adjusted all of my dimension groups. I no longer have a little warning sign, and all my quantities are up to date with the new revision. So all I need to do is go to my workbooks. Now this is where the benefit of having the live link is. So you don't have to remember, if you've manually typed in your figures rather than using your live link between your dimension groups and your workbook, you would have to remember where all those figures were. You'd have to go into the levels, adjust them manually. Whereas because these are live linked, like I demonstrated earlier, when I hit promote workbook, it's just going to update all of the figures that were previously of revision 1. It's going to update them to revision 2. So I've now got a different amount here and my padlock has disappeared. Same with this one. So we've got 558245 as a total here. I'm going to hit promote workbook. All of my quantities have adjusted, and as we can see, I've now got a different total, and once again my padlock has disappeared. So that is auto revisioning. Very simple process, much easier than traditional methods. CostX basically does the work for you. If you've done your dimensions correctly for revision 1, everything moving forward, it will identify it as a change. So if I was to update this to revision 3, then it would take previous, so revision 2, and then base any changes from that. Now you don't have to have corresponding formats. As I mentioned in the PowerPoint, you can actually have say your revision 1 was a PDF and your revision 2 is a DWG, it will still pick up the changes. So it doesn't matter if they're different formats. But thank you for watching. I hope you found this helpful, and we will see you in the next video.